Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tosh Talk. My name is Tosh. I'm the book buyer for Book Soup, a bookstore in West Hollywood, California. And we have a quite large poetry section, or at least I've been told we do. And lately I've been focusing on poetry and been reading poetry because I needed that sort of concentration to another world, to be another planet. And today I want to focus on a book called My Vocabulary Did This to Me, the collected poetry of Jack Spicer. Jack Spicer is pretty much a San Francisco-based poet from like 1950s through the 60s. He died young, around 40-something, alcoholism. And my vocabulary did this to me. Supposedly, that was his last words before he died. If I die, I'll probably go or but him, he said, my vocabulary did this to me. And Spicer was a gay poet, a very much out poet during the early 50s, during the McCarthy era. And he was actually very political at his time for gay rights and joining the various gay political groups, which is not unheard of, but very rare, still a rare stance and happening during that time and period, especially within the gay population of that period. And Jack Spicer is the poet's poet. It seems like more poets appreciate Jack Spicer than anybody in this world. And I discovered Jack Spicer as in my late teens when I started writing poetry, and he was always been sort of my foundation on my work. I think I like him because to me he's pretty much of a pop culture person who comment on his time and his world so well, yet sort of goes back but comment on what's happening in the present. And we don't have like a lot of time here, so I just want to read a selection of his poetry, if that's perfectly okay. Yes, it is. I hear you say yes. And this is a poem called Homosexuality. Roses that wear roses enjoy mirrors. Roses that wears roses must enjoy the flowers they are worn by. Roses that wear roses are dying with a mirror behind them. None of us are younger, but the roses are dying. Men and women have weddings and funerals, are conceived and destroyed in a formal procession. Roses die upon a bed of roses with mirrors weeping at them. I love the musical aspect of it. One night stand. Listen, you silk-hearted bastard, I said in the bar last night. You wear those dream clothes like a swan out of water. Listen, you wool-feathered bastard, my name, this for the record, is Lita. I can remember pretending that your red silk tie is a real heart, that your raw wool suit is real flesh, but you should float beside me with a swan's touch of casual satisfaction, but not the swan's blood. Waking tomorrow, I remember only somebody's feathers and his wrinkled heart draped loosely in my bed. Sexy. This is called Psychoanalysis at LOG. Psychoanalysis was really huge in the 50s, and probably still is for a certain population. What are you thinking about? I am thinking of an early summer. I am thinking of a wet hills in the rain, pouring water, shedding it down empty acres of oak and manzanita, down to the old green brush tangled in the sun, greasewood, sage, and spring mustard, or the hot wind coming down from Santa Ana, driving the hills crazy, a fast wind with a bit of dust in it, bruising everything and making the seed sweet, or down in the city where the peach trees are awakened as young horses, and there are kites caught on the wires above the street lamps, and the storm drains are all choked with dead branches. What are you thinking? I think that I would like to write a poem that is as slow as a summer, as slow as getting started, as 4th of July somewhere around the middle of the second stanza. After a lot of unusual rain, California seems long in the summer. I would like to write a poem as long as California and as slow as a summer. Do you get me, doctor? It would have to be as slow as the very tip of summer, as slow as the summer seems on a hot day drinking beer outside Riverside, or standing in the middle of a white, hot road between Bakersfield and hell, waiting for Santa Claus. What are you thinking now? I'm thinking that she is very much like California, when she is still her dress is like a road map. Highways traveling up and down her skin, long empty highways, with the moon chasing jackrabbits across them on hot summer nights. I'm thinking that her body could be California, and I, a rich Eastern tourist, lost somewhere between hell and Texas, looking at a map of a long, wet, dancing California that I have never seen. Send me some penny picture postcards, lady. Send them. One of each breast photographed looking like curious national monuments. One of your body sweeping like a 3-lane highway, 27 miles from a night's lodging in the world's oldest hotel. What are you thinking? I am thinking of how many times this poem will be repeated, how many summers will torture California till the damn maps burn, until the mad cartographer falls to the ground and possesses the sweet, thick earth from which he has been hiding. What are you thinking now? I am thinking that a poem could go on forever. Actually, a very incredible portrait of California weather. And I'm going to read one kind of a longish, shortish poem. Again, all poets are obsessed with cinema. I have not heard of a 20th century poet not interested in movies. This is called Buster Keaton's Ride. And it reads like a play, so I'm going to read the character. Rooster. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Buster Keaton enters carrying 4 children in his arms. Buster Keaton takes out a wooden dagger and kills them. My poor children. Rooster. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Buster Keaton counting the corpse on the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4. Grabs a bicycle and goes. Among the old rubber tires and cans of gasoline, a Negro eats a straw hat. Buster Keaton, what a beautiful afternoon. A parrot flutters around the sexless sky. Buster Keaton, I like riding a bicycle. The owl, toot 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 toot. Buster Keaton, how beautifully these birds sing. The owl, whoo. Buster Keaton, it's lovely. Pause. Buster Keaton emphatically crosses the rushes and little fields of rye. The landscape shortens itself beneath the wheels of his machine. The bicycle has a single dimension. It is able to enter books and to expand itself even into operas and coal mines. The bicycle of Buster Keaton does not have a riding seat of caramel or sugar pedals like the bicycles badmen ride. It is a bicycle like all bicycles except for a unique drenching of innocence. Adam and Eve run by, frightened as if they were carrying a vase full of water, and in passing, pet the bicycle of Buster Keaton. Buster Keaton, ah, love, love. Buster Keaton falls to the ground. The bicycle escapes him. It runs behind 2 enormous gray butterflies. It skims madly half an inch from the ground. Buster Keaton, I don't want to talk. Won't somebody please say something? A voice. Fool! He continues walking, his eyes infinite and sad like a newly born animal. Dream of lilies and angels in silken belts, his eyes which are like the bottom of a vase, his eyes of a mad child, which are most faithful, which are most beautiful. The eyes of an ostrich, his human eyes which are secure, equipped with melancholy. Philadelphia is seen in the distance. The inhabitants of that city now know that the old poem of a Singer machine is able to encircle the big roses of the greenhouse, but not at all to comprehend the poetic difference between a bowl of hot tea and a bowl of cold tea. Philadelphia shines in the distance. Ah, American girl with eyes of celluloid, come through the grass. The American, hello. Buster Keaton smiles and looks at the shoes of the girl. Those shoes, we do not have to admire her shoes. It would take a crocodile to wear them. Buster Keaton, I would have liked, the American breathless, do you carry a sword decked with myrtle leaves? Buster Keaton shrugs his shoulders and lifts his right foot. The American, do you have a ring with a poisoned stone? Buster Keaton twists slowly and lifts inquiring leg. The American, well, 4 angels with wings of heavenly gas balloon piss among the flowers. The ladies of the town play a piano as they were riding a bicycle. The waltz, a moon, and 17 Indian canoes rock the precious heart of our friend. As the greatest surprise of all, autumn has invaded the garden like water explodes, a geometrical clump of sugar. Buster Keaton, sighing, I would have liked to have been a swan, but I can't do what I would have liked because what happened to my hat? Where's my collar of little birds and my mohair necktie? What a disgrace! A young girl with a wisp waist and a high collar comes up on a bicycle. She has the head of a nightingale. Young girl, whom do I have the honor of saluting? With a bow, Buster Keaton. The young girl faints and falls off the bicycle. Her legs on the ground tremble like two agonized cobras. A gramophone plays 1,000 versions of the same song. In Philadelphia, they have no nightingales. Buster Keaton, kneeling. Darling, Miss Eleanor, pardon me, lower, darling. Lower still, darling, Lois, darling. The lights of Philadelphia flicker and go out in the faces of 1,000 policemen. My vocabulary did this to me, the collected poetry of Jack Spicer, essential book of poems by a very, very important American poet. Get it? It's at BookSoup. Thank you very much, Tosh Talks.